Hour number 2 of the postgame show coming at you on this Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay Philips and Elijah Campbell with you. We are in the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia, wherever you might be. Thank you for choosing to spend some of your afternoon with us. We'll get a lot of football in this hour. Shane Beamer has spoken, Lenora Sellers, Luke Doty, and others around Carolina football. We'll have that for you coming up. Derek Scott will join us at the bottom of the hour, talk a little Carolina hoops and baseball. And got a few texts and tweets to get to about the Michie Johnson situation. I think there's a lot of understanding and a lot of frustration. I got a couple that I'll get to in just a second. Real quick here, the NFL today did, the owners, that is, did approve the new kickoff rules. I'm going to try to explain it again, but honestly, I don't know yet. Well, they want more kickoffs, okay? They want
kickoff returns.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, returns. My bad. Yes.
There you go.
They want more. They want more returns. They also want to do it safely, so they want more returns and fewer concussions. That's what they've said. All right. It'll go into effect for 1 year only, and they expect that they will continue to tweak this. Now, once again, I'm going to try to read this. I read and talk fast. So I'm going to try to slow down my cadence just a little bit here. And I'm learning this for myself. Even though I've read this particular piece once already today and another one on this, I really still don't know if I fully grasp it, which is a bit frustrating to me because I do think I'm moderately intelligent. Here we go.
Let's give it a whirl.
During the 2024 season, by the way, sorry. I want to give credit first. This is Kevin Seifert, national ESPN writer. Okay? Sorry. I need to give credit where credit is due first. So there we go. Kevin Seifert.
Cite your sources.
During the 2024 season, kickers will continue to kick from the 35-yard line. But the other 10 players on the kickoff team will line up at the receiving team's 40-yard line. At least 9 members of the return team will line up in a setup zone between the 35 and 30-yard lines. Up to 2 returners can line up in a landing zone between the goal line and the 20. No one other than the kicker and returners can move until the ball hits the ground or hits a player inside the landing zone. Touchbacks will be marked at the 30-yard line, and no fair catches will be allowed. In the event a team wants to attempt an onside kick, it will have to inform officials of its intent and would then be allowed to use the NFL's traditional format. No surprise onside kicks will be allowed. Now, I think I have it right, but I'm trying to make sure here.
And for those that were watching on the video stream, I did a hand diagram, okay? Right. And there's kicker, 30 yards down the field, the kicking team.
That usually line up right next to him.
Yep. Instead of lining up next to him, they're going to do it 30 yards down the field. They're going to line up right there.
Yep.
A little 10-yard buffer.
Yep, a buffer. A buffer. That's right.
And there can be either 9 or 10 players on the receiving team lined up in front of them. 1 or 2 players can be behind that line to receive the kick.
And everybody has to play like freeze tag.
Yes, exactly. It's freeze tag until the ball hits the ground or another human being.
Right.
That way, we essentially have it's almost like the kickoff being a long shotgun snap. It'd be better when a dude
doesn't know it's going to hit him, right? Like, where's the ball? Oh, it hits him. Then you can move.
Then it'd be hilarious. Yeah, or you're not allowed to catch it. It must hit you, or the ball hits the ground first. But you can't look up either.
It's like an outfielder that has to line yourself up, but you can't catch the ball.
You're not allowed to even look up to see it. You can't even brace for impact.
That would be great.
That would be hilarious.
Then you scramble for the ball. Then see, that's fun. Then that becomes fun. That becomes entertaining.
Yes. Now, if we really want to make this entertaining, that's what you do. However, if all of this is still too confusing, just go to YouTube and search, XFL kickoff, because it's the exact same kickoff rule that they had. You'll see it in practice, and obviously the whole point of this is to not have, a return team and all their players coming at a head full of steam.
As Ryan Brewer would say, head hunting and coming at you. Because
yes,
we've got to get Brew. In fact, I should have called him. We're going to call him soon.
Yeah. What we need to do is we need to get all of us as a staff to go to a football field, record exactly what this would look like, line up, and diagram this. But this is going to look really weird the first couple times it's implemented. The first couple times you watch an NFL game with this kickoff, it is, I'm warning you now, it is going to be really, really weird. From watching XFL games back in 2020 when they first implemented this and before the season got canceled, I watched solely because of this kickoff rule because I was so curious about it. It was developed, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he developed this, and the XFL took it and tried to implement it to eliminate injuries in hopes of maybe the NFL adopting it one day. And, long story short, they have. But watching it the first couple times, it felt so weird. But after a couple times, I got used to it, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like this because now you're getting returns. Now there is a special teams element that the NFL basically has not had here in the last few years because everything's a touchback. No one is electing.
But are we still getting? Kicks. I mean, and I'm not dogging this, right? Are we still getting returns that basically are still going to the ball's going to be dead between the 20 and 30, right? I mean,
how good are your blockers?
And you'll get the occasional guy that finds his way through. Yeah, I mean, so if they want that, and they do, I get it. I'm just sitting here laughing. I mean, I'm thinking because in the article it has setup zone in quotation marks and landing zone in quotation marks.
We don't need to name the zones. I think that's what's going to confuse a lot of people.
Have you seen? Now I know I'm a generation older than you. Okay. But one of the best comedies of my life when I was a kid, and still is to this day, one of the finest comedies ever made, is Airplane, the original.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the red zone is for the immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. I'm thinking of the red zone and the white zone. I'm waiting for officials to get it wrong, like the man and the woman in Airplane. And they're like, no, the white zone is for me. What are the zones? And we're asking the ref. That's all I can hear in my head now is that scene in Airplane.
That's where we're going to mess up.
And then what does he say to her? Like I want a divorce. I forget what it is now that he says. I forget the words. But that's what I'm picturing. It's like a PA guy in your NFL stadiums. The landing zone is for the receiving players only.
That's the receiving zone.
There are no setups in the landing zone. They're like, no. The setup zone is for. That's all I'm picturing that.
Gene Steratore is going to have a really fun time explaining this on CBS.
But I at least made myself chuckle with being able to think about Airplane for a minute. But
which everyone should do at least once.
I have also seen, by the way, and let me go back to this, if I may, please, sir. Our good friend Seth Emerson of The Athletic says college football will watch and could follow soon. He is hearing that college officials will see how this is implemented in the National Football League and may want to put it into effect in college. Huh. So now, again, this is only going to happen next year. For now, this coming season, so to the 24 NFL season. So you wouldn't see this in college until at least 2025.
Well, if it's anything like helmet communication, I'm really excited to see this implemented in 2065.
Yeah, I know, right? Are we going to get that? We are getting that, right? We got helmets and we got tablets, right? Mm-hmm. But we did what? Which one?
Still frame images on the tablets.
Which one didn't we get? There was something that we didn't get in college. Now I can't remember which one. There was a few things. Maybe I don't know. But they're going to do helmets, which is good. Thank God. Finally, they're kind of keeping up with it.
Only two decades behind on that, but as someone who's late to a lot of things, better late than never, I guess.
There is no. I just pulled it up here. The red zone is for the immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. There is no stopping in the red zone. And then the woman says the white zone is for loading and unloading. There is no stopping in the red zone. See, this is.
The red zone is also where you can watch every single NFL game on every Sunday without commercials.
I do love red zone, no doubt. Anyway, okay. Now, are fans clamoring for this? Who's complaining to the NFL, going, you know what I want? More kickoff returns. I mean, is this really something we're missing? I got to be honest with you. I watch plenty of NFL. I love red zone. And sure, the occasional kick return for a score is exciting, but I'm not going to go, man, you know what I wish we had was a lot more kick returns. You know,
Well, it just went from occasional kick return to no kick return.
Yeah,
I think it's now become a ceremonious part of the game.
Is
that
it more,
is a play in name only?
I wonder if it's more, and I'm serious about this, is this more about, like, getting guys on special teams because they aren't getting meaningful minutes as players, and you do want to actually see them perform on special teams? I mean, how much of it is...
Because those type of plays are really exciting. I mean, one of my favorite plays in the history of the Super Bowl is Devin Hester returning the opening kickoff for a score back in 2006, or I guess that would have been the 06 season, 2007 Super Bowl. But that was one of my favorite plays in the history of the Super Bowl. And Devin Hester was a player that every time there was a kick or a punt, you knew that he had the chance to take it to the house. Yeah. Dante Hall was basically Kansas City's only offense for about 3 or 4 years, and that was because he would take kicks and punts to the house all the time. And I think maybe getting that element to the game probably at least adds a little more excitement, or at least adds curiosity. And, there's not a brand in sports, pro or college, that is more towards adding or piquing your interest to watch their product like the NFL. Even though they already have you wrapped around their finger, they want you to cut off the bloodstream and then blood flow in that finger. That's how bad they want you to be piqued and interested into that sport. So maybe this is something that adds an element to it.
It's always been interesting to me, too, and I realize that college is so vastly different from the NFL. But we talk a lot about, Shane and Pete Limbo and the special teams, and certainly Shane's father, really kind of taking it to another level in terms of just the vast importance of special teams for field position. And maybe, I think for Coach Frank Beamer, overcoming a talent level that he didn't have relative to some schools across the country and things like that, and where you can make a difference. We just never really seen that in any great way in the National Football League. I realize that there is importance of it, but I'm kind of surprised that there hasn't been that coach or that someone over time, that franchise that maybe has valued it. And I suppose it's because you don't have to. I get it,
Yeah,
well, but it is interesting. But here, this is one of the most significant changes that we've seen to anything in the NFL in a long time.
Well, wouldn't you say this is the most significant change to the aesthetic of the game that we have seen? And I'm trying to think of maybe what other rules have been added or certain things have been outlawed.
I mean, I'm trying to think in terms of like how guys actually line up. I can't really think of anything. This is so radical. I mean, I remember like how big a deal it was when the NFL added the 2-point conversion, which college had forever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can equate them directly. They are special teams plays, but I remember as a kid, like, why doesn't the NFL have a 2-point conversion? That's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, I know a lot of defenders. We talked with Langston about that, how, defenders are, no pun intended, hamstrung now by a lot of rules to allow for offenses to do more. But that's
what the hip drop tackle now thing is going to open that up a lot.
And speaking of which, in terms of like having an official on the field and subjectivity, have fun with that rule.
I have a feeling that one's not going to last forever.
I don't even want to try to explain that one. We will get Langston to do that for us here in the not too distant future as we talk more spring football with him. But I can't think of anything that's just so completely. Again, I hate to use the word, but radical. I'm not even sure the 2-point conversion was radical. It was vastly different because
common sense.
You could do it.
It was already part of the
sport.
The game.
Of the sport, just not at the highest level. So anyway, have fun with landing zones and setup zones and the red zone and the white zone and no parking in the red zone and unloading only, and we'll see where it goes. And then it'll be on a college football field near you
in 2065.
Soon enough.